we have been through call it the storm when it comes to insurance rates. And I get excited. Just take for a minute, think about what your future profit centers look like with some of these inside information or these connections we've been able to draw for you. And what this is going to do to your net rental income or your cash flow. Imagine a scenario where, interest rates come down in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. I don't know when it's going to happen, but when your interest rates come down, what does that do to your mortgage payment, Pablo?
Well, it lowers your mortgage payment and it increases your cash flow.
There you go. So you got an increased cash flow opportunity right there from interest rates coming down. When your insurance cost could potentially come down in the future over what you're paying right now, that just adds to your increased in net rental income cash flow. So you can create this world here where the numbers that you're buying at right now, as far as what your net rental income or cash flow is today, they were already going to get better in the future because of how this asset works, but they have the opportunity to be significantly better than what you're buying at today. You're creating an opportunity to underpromise and overdeliver. And that future has a number of different components that are moving in that direction when we talk about interest rates, potentially insurance cost. But the one thing that's locked in that you can never change, you know what that is?
What's that, GC?
Your purchase price. And as we have talked about for years now, home prices have continued to go up in many places across the country, Jacksonville being one of them as a growth market. If you bought an investment property a year ago, it was less money than what it is today. You can never change that.
Yep.
But you have the opportunity to buy today before some of these things happen. Because guess what happens as soon as net rental income goes up, as interest rates go down, as insurance rates go down? What happens to purchase prices?
Prices shoot up. We have shown the data.
Prices are going to go up. So you have this inside information. You have an opportunity here to make a better decision. And, that's part of the reason for the show is to help people take advanced steps to wherever your financial goal is, retirement or what have you. It's a big opportunity right now this year. Take some action before everybody else sees what's going on in the form of these interest rate decreases, these, potentially home insurance rate decreases, and potentially home price increases come down the pike.
Yeah, makes sense, man. When I think of where I want to invest my money, I think the two things one thinks of is like upside and risk mitigation, right? And it's really interesting to think that in, risk mitigation to me is like, what are the things I can control? And then what are the things that I'm fairly certain of? And then what are the things that could, not control and are volatile? And to think that's two such huge components of like the mortgage, which is the biggest expense, you have 100% control on for the next 30 years until the end of the investment. The price, you control every day what you could buy, like you have control on that price. And then you have like fair certainty that it's not going to be a better price than that later. Right? Like that, like the idea of that happening is very, very little. And then you make these educated guesses of, in the future, what can change. The idea that rates are going to go down as opposed to going up from here is probably a pretty good bet to make that rates are going to go down, which means that you can then control lowering the mortgage, increasing the cash flow again. The idea that Florida insurance rates are going to go down seems like a likely trend or staying constant, right? So like the idea that cash flow is going to continue to go up. And then I guess bigger picture, I think, what am I actually investing in, right? Like I'm investing in a critical need.
Right.
That is all, workforce housing in one of America's fastest growing cities to me is a hedge against hedges, right? Like you are investing in like the piece of the asset class that like is most insulated as an asset within the asset class that has the most risk mitigation. And then now we're just talking about upside of like the growth of the Jacksonville market, the growth of your cash flow with all this kinds of stuff. I don't know, man. Like as you zoom out of all this stuff with this type of news, it feels like the future of whatever you're buying today or already hold looks so much brighter than I ever thought when I bought my stuff 3 years ago.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. And it hits both sides of the brain for me and probably does for you. There's
Yeah.
the conservative side, which is you're investing in a critical need for the individual, shelter, right? You're investing in a critical need for the government. That's why you're seeing legislation come in to solve this problem, right? The government needs to make sure that insurance costs are fair so that people can, buy shelter for themselves. So you want to be in that direction. When things are moving in that direction, it's a critical need for the government, critical need for the individual. That is built-in risk mitigation right there.